Hello children, today we will talk about our 5 sense organs. Let's start. Sensory organs and their functions. We have 5 different sensory organs that perform many different functions in our body. The eye is our organ of vision. The ear is our hearing organ. The nose is our olfactory organ. Language is our taste organ. Well, which is our 5th sense organ? Of course, our skin. We touch our skin and feel the heat and cold. The skin is our organ of touch. When we have a cold in the winter, we cannot fully enjoy the food we eat because our tongue and nose, which allows us to enjoy food, work together to help us taste. Okay, children. See you again. Have a nice, good day.